the B2M2 podcast. I'm Michael Hoad, and it's good to be back hosting the show. I'm joined by Mitchell Machtinger, who is absolutely devastated with the results of last night's double eviction. How did it feel to go from having 4 players to 2 in less than an hour?
I believe I have the final 2, so I'm not too worried.
Who do you think is going to be the final 2 then? Caleb and Victoria.
Full confidence in Caleb and Victoria to pull it out.
I think you got half of it.
But I don't know. I think Nicole said it best about everything. It's time to start playing Big Brother and not play Big Baby.
I loved it. All right, it was a double eviction week, so let's jump right into the weekly breakdown. So we kick off the week with the Sunday HOH competition, the conclusion of it, and we leave off with Caleb just sort of breezing through at the beginning. He's got a good technique down. He's balanced on his feet. Most of the other people are struggling right off the bat, and we find out that voting out Donnie really was a tough decision for the house. We thought that that Donnie was going to go, but just hours before the eviction, we find out in a flashback scene that they still hadn't decided if they were keeping Donnie or Nicole. And then Cody ended up spilling that news to Nicole. So in the competition, a little more time passes, and Derek sees that it's a 4-horse race, and he's not in that race. So he starts going for the money.
Holla.
And the hollas.
Holla.
And he ends up winning it, so he has to deal with all the hollas for the rest of the season. Which...
Rest of the season, rest of the week?
I think it was for the rest of the summer.
I think it's the rest of the week.
Okay, someone needs to verify that for us. And as the competition goes on, Nicole has caught on to a little trick, and she starts helping Christine. And she tells Christine that there's thicker, like, slush material at the back of the pool, and with this knowledge, Christine gets right back into the competition and actually really gives Caleb a run for his money. I think, well, Caleb ends up winning it, but I think if Christine had like 1 or 2 more scoops in there, she would have taken it.
I've never understood like the last scoop part. It's like you try and like get it out with your fingers or whatever, but like I don't know how they would do it. Are you not allowed to like try and like suck the ball out? Does that work? That's like the first thing I thought of, is like that's a legitimate strategy.
There was another thing that I noticed, probably not strategy, considering it was Caleb, and considering Caleb has no hair, but at one point Caleb dunked his head in the pool, and I thought, oh, awesome, he's gonna like transport the water through his hair. He doesn't have any, but like that would have been a legit strategy for someone with longer hair to dunk themselves.
I think you have to use the cup. I think he was just trying to get fired up.
Yeah, he's probably he was hot and wanted to cool down or something, and pump himself up.
It's funny, they showed the competition on TV for like a 30 episode. It was like 20 minutes. And I thought that was a bit too long. I guess they didn't have much else to show. But the competition itself went on for 2.5 hours, and that looks like a bit of a workout, if I have to say so myself.
Yeah, I completely underestimated it. I know last week I was sort of chirping as to why is this considered an endurance challenge. I didn't notice at first that the ramp was sloped and you have to like run up. I thought it was like a pretty straight ramp, so I apologize. I was mistaken. Definitely a true test of endurance. We also find out, to a little bit of my surprise, that Team America is still going on, even with Donnie's departure. Are you surprised by that?
Yeah, it's over.
And we'll get to their new challenge later on. So, after the competition, Caleb literally has to be carried around the house. That would not be a very easy thing to do, considering how jacked that guy is. And Frankie is starting to be really harsh towards Christine, because Christine all week has been sort of getting back in Nicole's good books, and then Nicole helped her in the competition. So Frankie's just, his sort of inner bitch is coming out, and he's turning on his fellow detonator. One of the sort of cooler HOH room reveals in my recent memory happened. Caleb gets his HOH room in his sort of gift basket, and it's all his sort of army keepsakes. He has his hat and a flag that flew in Baghdad, and I forgot that he actually hadn't won a HOH since the first week. So in that first week, I don't think they got anything.
Oh, they didn't show it. I remember they didn't show, or they didn't get anything in the HOH room, but was it really only a second?
I think. Oh, because no, his other one was in the double eviction.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was his first like HOH gift basket. So it was kind of cool to see his army stuff. a surprise for me here was we find out that Victoria is having major issues with Christine. She says that Christine's the fakest person she's ever met, and her laugh is especially annoying. So they do a little compilation of Christine laughing at literally everything, very well edited to make her look like a total idiot. And I guess we know Victoria's target if she ever wins an HOH.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's never going to happen. So Nicole starts to suck up to the HOH Caleb and says that she doesn't have anyone in the game right now, and she tells Caleb that she'd be as loyal to him as she was to Hayden. This is a good offer, in my opinion. Like, where else does Nicole have to go? Caleb could sort of, if he could keep it a secret, that'd be a good ally to have. What would you think of that potential pairing?
I wasn't buying it at all.
Oh,
I didn't think anything was going to happen from it.
No, Caleb completely shut it down, but like I think...
obviously everything's worth a shot, but I didn't think it would save Nicole in the slightest.
I didn't think Caleb needed to shut it down like so aggressively. Like he made it known that it was not going to happen. Like he could have tried to appease her a bit, and for some reason, if she ended up getting off the block, she could have helped Caleb further himself. But yeah, it didn't happen. So throughout this episode and throughout the whole week, the Holla thing is going on, and again, I was critical of that last week, but I found it pretty funny.
Yeah. I mean, he won the money, but the whole house has to suffer.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah. Like
but I mean, I guess everybody took it in good fun.
Yeah, but that would be, because I don't know how they could just restrict it to Derek hearing it, though.
See, at first, I thought they showed it, he was responding to all of them. And I was like, whoa, like, does he have to respond to all of them?
Yeah.
But then he was, like, in the shower, and they were just going off, and, like, they didn't care. So...
And we finally get to see a have-not selection. I don't remember the last time we got to see one.
It's been a while. Probably since the first week.
Yeah, I remember the first week when all of my people volunteered for have-nots. I don't think we've seen one since then.
Yeah, I mean, there have been have-nots.
Yes.
But we just haven't seen any competitions or volunteering.
And their food is called snot roast. What that is garlic, meat, mushrooms, and I think potatoes. So Derek volunteers to go on the slop and snot roast, and Nicole is the second have-not. I thought it was going to be Frankie. They made the point that Frankie's been on it the least of anyone, but I'm not going to complain. These points are pretty precious now, and you get -1 for being have-not. So
yeah, but they cancel each other out, right?
Yeah, but I mean, if I got hit with both, could be a huge factor in the coming weeks. So Caleb is scared to put Christine up next to Nicole. He thinks that if Christine wins the veto and then wins HOH, she would come after him. And Cody tries to lobby to keep Christine off the block because Cody and Christine are tight. I don't think Christine would ever put up Cody. And Cody suggests going after Frankie. So Christine then keeps calling the alliance the bomb squad. We know Caleb's been doing that the whole season, but now Christine's doing it too. Maybe it's because the detonators was Zach's idea and they don't want to be associated with Zach. And then we also got the hybrid, the Bombinators.
Bombinators. At first, when I first saw the name Bombinators, I thought it was like the counter like alliance, like Nicole or whatever, going against the detonators, but they just renamed themselves. They combined the two names.
That would have been cool if it was the counter alliance. So Caleb, in the middle of his nomination ceremony, gets hollowed, which was hilarious, actually. And he ends up nominating Nicole and Christine, and in his speech he makes it very clear that Nicole is the target. So on to the Wednesday, the veto episode. Nicole, after the ceremony, is very upset, and she talks to Derek and says she just needs a friend in the house. And it's just amazing how everyone still trusts Derek, and everyone's confiding in Derek.
It's like, it boggles my mind that, like, everyone knows this guy hasn't been on the block this whole time. So it's like you think he's doing something right. But again, I think he's everybody's number one.
To target or take
like number one, like alliance person.
Yeah.
Which is great on his part. But it's also the reason why he hasn't been up on the block is because no one's going to put him up.
Yeah, so Derek wants to get on Nicole's good side because secretly he wants Christine to be the one to go home if she doesn't win the veto. So we go up to the HOH room, and Caleb is telling Cody that if Nicole wins the veto, Victoria is going to be the one to go up, and Victoria is going to be the one to go home, because Caleb's worried that Christine's going to come after. So Derek comes up and talks some sense into these other two. Derek says Christine's like a really big threat. She's won a lot of competitions, and he wants her out. Cody, just hearing this news from his fellow hitman, jumps immediately on it and is now all of a sudden on board to get Christine out.
Derek's so smooth. I can't get over it. This guy is crazy good.
So down in the backyard, Nicole and Victoria are getting tight, and we finally see a little bit more game talk from Victoria. They're saying how, well, it's mainly Nicole saying it. Nicole says that the worst move that she made in the game was getting in an alliance with Christine in the first week. She says she's been betrayed by her since week 1, which I guess is true. Like, Christine was in the bomb squad and the detonators and didn't tell Nicole. So Nicole was never.
I think she did, because she didn't want her to not trust her. But in the end, she ended up siding with the detonators over Nicole and Hayden.
I wonder what would have happened if she went the other way. Anyways, more amazing game from Derek here. Derek just starts appealing to Caleb's ego and says that Caleb and Cody are the two front runners to win the $500,000. Derek says that flat out that Caleb's played a better game than him, and Caleb, of course, just agrees. He's nodding the whole time and saying yeah as Derek's giving him all this information. Derek says to Caleb that he's just been a floater the whole season, and he hasn't been good in challenges, which isn't really true. He's won a couple HOHs.
But I feel like everybody has. With 2 HOHs, everybody's...
Not Victoria.
Yeah, not Victoria.
But this whole thing just sort of reminds me of, I've binge watched season 10 and 14 in the past week to see the great Dan Giesling.
Finally, get around to watching those.
And this is just completely reminding me of Dan. Dan saying how he's such a weak player in the game. And Caleb makes an agreement with Derek that he's going to take him to the finals. I don't know if that's true, but like we say, I think he's everyone's number 2 guy. Then the detonators assure Christine that if one of them win the veto, they're going to pull her down and put up Victoria. For the veto selection, Cody gets selected as a house guest choice. Derek gets picked, but he wants to throw it to Nicole so that Christine can go home. And Victoria is also picked. After the selection, Caleb, Cody, and Derek hash out a final 3 agreement. Caleb says that he's going to pick these 2 guys over Frankie. And Derek doesn't want Frankie out. He wants Christine out. So he just gets the conversation right back on track and puts the target back on Christine. But the Frankie move does come into play later on, which we'll get to. The veto competition is called Big Brother Blast. This is a pretty fun competition. You're shown a series of wires on a screen. You have to remember the order and cut the one wire that they ask for. So I also had a question about this. I could have sworn I heard them say that the first 2 players eliminated had to be dinosaurs.
I think it was the first player eliminated. But what if 2 people got it wrong on the first question? That was what I was thinking.
Tie break. The answer will be a number.
But maybe they just both had to.
One wears half and half, maybe. One wears the head, one wears the suit. Anyway, so Cody goes out first. He's the dinosaur. Caleb goes out second. Yeah, Cody went on the very first one, which is kind of pathetic. It was 4 wires, and you couldn't remember it. And then when you're eliminated, this was amazing. The bomb just blows up in your face, and you get covered in paint and smoke and stuff. I was not expecting that. It really surprised me when Cody blew up.
It was big.
Derek admits that he has a photographic memory. Of course he does. He's just amazing at everything. But he ends up throwing the competition. And he's hoping that Nicole can pull it out over Christine. But Christine ends up winning. Then after Christine wins, and she's been on the block, she confesses to the cameras that she hates working with the detonators and the bomb squad and the bombinators or whatever. She's just sick of being the slave to the guys.
Well, I think she finally realized that the free ride was over and that there can only be one winner and it's not a final 5. So I think she was doing a bit of reflecting on what could have been if she stuck with Nicole and Hayden.
Exactly. And then Caleb gets worried about Frankie again because after the competition, Frankie went over to Christine and whispered something in her ear. And we know that it was Frankie bragging that he would have won the competition.
Of course.
Yeah, Frankie just completely full of himself. But the other house guests think it's something to do with game, and they grow suspicious, particularly Caleb. Cody starts to admit that he's wanted to get Frankie out for weeks now, and it sounds like Frankie is going to be backdoored. And they're using the information that he was whispering to Christine as ammunition to their argument. Caleb pitches the idea to Christine and Derek. Christine is down to get rid of Frankie, but Derek is very tentative to do it, partially because of his Team America alliance. Cody tries to convince Derek that it's the right thing to do, but Derek doesn't really waver. And then right before the nomination or the veto meeting, Nicole tells Derek that he's the closest thing to Dan Giesling that she's ever seen, and she respects Derek's game entirely. Derek becomes very worried about this and changes his mind, tells his alliance that they need to keep Nicole as the target, and of course he convinces them. Christine uses the veto on herself, and Victoria goes up. On to the eviction.
I think Derek's really just the definition of a puppet master. He's got everybody here on his strings. And then, like he said, it's like once they realize, like, I guess, how he's playing the game, like Donnie did it and then Nicole did it. And then they become the target. And, of course, he convinces everybody since they're all just sheep to him.
So entering Thursday's episode, Nicole just keeps rehashing that Caleb is a wimp and is afraid to make a big move. She says, "Oh, big beast mode is more scared than I am. Like, why doesn't he make a big move?" And she just keeps, like, repeating that over the entire episode. So Caleb confesses to Frankie that he thought of putting him up. I disagree with the move. I don't know. Caleb, he rationalized it by saying he didn't want Frankie finding out from someone else, but, like, as Cody says, Cody's the one who ends up being thrown under the bus for this. Caleb completely blames it on him. And Cody says, at some point, like, you don't have to play this blindly loyal game. Like, you can lie and keep secrets.
Yeah, like, it's literally just those guys left. They're going to have to go after each other, like, now. Now's the point, but they're not. So everyone's, like they all say, they're all going to get struck against first before they strike first against the other people.
So Frankie confronts Derek about this idea to backdoor him, and Derek, he sort of plays dumb, says it was mentioned, but, like, it was never a serious thought. Derek tries to smooth it over. Frankie doesn't seem to buy it, so it seems like Frankie can sort of detect Derek's BS, but still, Derek is in complete control. And then Derek, who is clean-shaven, I don't know if you noticed.
I did notice that.
I had that pointed out to me. It seems he's gone away from that, what did he say, hipster dad look?
21 Jump Street look.
Yeah, he's gone away from that and then tells his fellow hitman, Cody, that Frankie knows about the backdoor plan. Cody gets upset at Caleb and knows that Caleb was the one to throw him under the bus. So for the actual eviction, Nicole is evicted 4-0. No surprise there. Nicole is out of the house for a second time. Gone for good. Or is she? Because Julie says there's another twist coming.
That's true.
Is Nicole coming back again?
Every summer's the most twisted summer ever.
So the new HOH challenge is called What the Bleep. And statements are made by evicted house guests. And one word of the statement is bleeped out. And Julie will give you what the word is. You have to say if that word is true or false. So the question is, it's Donnie reading his HOH letter from his girlfriend, and the letter says, "I miss your blank," and Julie says the word is, "I miss your massages." Everyone says true except Derek, who says false.
Yeah, I've never seen something like this. There's always, like, the first round's always like this, where one person guesses against the majority, but they're always wrong.
Yeah.
I've never seen it where that one person is actually right.
So everyone's out except Derek. So Derek wins HOH. The correct answer was, "Donnie, I miss your kisses." I was blown away by that. So with this extra time, since they budgeted obviously a lot more than one question to this HOH challenge, we have time to see a little bit of the strategy behind the nomination. So Derek explains that Victoria that she has to go up, but tells her that either Christine or Frankie is going home. Did you like to see this decision-making process in the double eviction episode?
Yeah, I mean, we would have seen it anyways on Sunday, I think, but I think they obviously had the time to kill, right? They weren't planning on the competition going just one question long, so it was an interesting, time filler for a live eviction, double eviction.
So he ends up putting up Victoria and Christine, and he says this is the house's decision. He doesn't take all the responsibility on himself. He says, this is what the other people want me to do. So on to the veto competition. It's called Mazed and Confused. You have to maneuver a ball through a series of 3 circular mazes. Frankie wins the veto. He says that as soon as he saw the competition, he knew he was going to win it, of course. And Frankie doesn't use the power of veto. Christine is evicted 3-0. That's another unanimous vote against Mitchell's team.
Yeah, Frankie wins the veto, and the first thing I thought of is if he saves Christine, then Derek is forced to put up either Cody or Caleb.
Right.
And then Frankie and Christine vote out that whoever that is, 2-1. And then Cody or Caleb goes home. And then only Cody or Caleb can compete in the next HOH because Derek can't. So right away you have I guess Victoria's in the middle, but she doesn't count. So it's 2-2, right? So I think Frankie could have really flipped the script, and he knows they're coming after him, right?
Yeah.
So flip the script. Christine would be loyal to you because you just saved her. Actually, I don't know. So if Christine would just go with whoever is HOH and could take her to the next thing. But I mean, I think they could have got out a bigger target this week than Christine.
Oh, I agree. But Derek wouldn't have put up Cody. He would have put up Caleb.
Yeah.
But if he ended up putting up Cody, do you think Christine would have voted against him?
Maybe not. But
I don't know. It would have been Caleb.
It would have been Caleb, and I think Caleb would have gone home.
Yeah, it would have been a big, big move on double eviction.
This is one of those double evictions where they literally pack 2 big brothers into one, because this is exactly what would have happened in the next 2 weeks anyway, so let's get it over with and move on.
Agreed. So Christine's eviction reminds me of Brittany from season 12, Hayden's season, where the brigade just completely strung Brittany along for the whole season, using her as a vote, using her to protect them, and then they just booted her out. I think Brittany made it to the final 4, but Christine, similar player, I guess. So Christine is pissed. She didn't even say goodbye. And then, really surprising, when she walks to the door, she gets booed. Hardcore. What was that? Why?
I wasn't expecting it. I think it was the whole Christine Cody thing.
I guess.
But in the end, I can't see why they booed her. I mean, they booed Aaron last year because of the whole,
I think this was louder than Aaron's.
It was.
Yeah.
And I guess people are pissed or whatever, but that was a big surprise.
Yeah, there was one guy, I guess he was sitting next to the mic, with just this booming boos.
It wasn't even split. It's not like there were some people cheering, some people were booing. It was just straight boos.
I don't even know what I'd do if that happened to me.
I'd be rattled. I'd just go back to the door and walk back into the house. Turn around.
Okay, so on to the twists. We have Team America. First option, it's time for America's vote. First option is to wear down the competition by convincing everyone to fast for 24 hours while Team America secretly eats. The second option is to wear down the competition by convincing everyone there's a rodent in the house and you have to keep them up to try to catch it.
Neither of these are going to work.
No.
I hope the fast wins. It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
None of these are going to happen.
At this point in the game, no one's going to go without food for 24
and
hours.
Nobody would go without food anyways. And no one's going to see if there's nothing to actually be seen as a rodent.
Plus, they've already done this sort of to keep everyone up at night. They did that with the night watch, stealing the clothes. It's sort of similar. Keep everyone awake because you have to go on a hunt. I don't know. Whatever one wins, I think it'll be the food one. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And another twist is that Jeff and Jordan, fan favorites, are returning on Sunday's episode. Who knows what they're going to do? Maybe a coaching session?
Maybe. That's usually what it is. People come back and they just hang out with the house for like one day and they give them tips and stuff.
And finally, there's something called the Big Brother Rewind. And if someone ends up pushing the button inside the house, the week is paused at the live eviction and you go back to the beginning of the week. So it just makes it like nothing really happens. Like you still get the blood on your hands, but no one's going home.
Yeah, from what I understand is that if they push the button, then the whole week plays out. But then as soon as the live eviction happens, the two people on the block get off the block and they just do a whole week of Big Brother in one episode.
We see that while eavesdropping on the house guests at the end of the show, we see that Caleb is really tempted to push it, but no one else seems to want to. I forget who says it, but like someone says, if you push it, I'll castrate you or something like that.
It's always bad news. I mean, they're so bored in there that obviously they just want to shake things up, but you can't do it. It's never something good, these buttons or twists.
Okay, surprises of the week.
None. No surprises because
Harsh.
obviously this whole season's been predictable. Again, aside from Paola's vote in like week 2 and the first double eviction episode, every vote has been unanimous. No one's made a big move and they've had the opportunity. And no surprises.
Okay, I have 3.
Okay.
My first surprise is that we got to see some of the strategic talk in the double eviction. Usually we don't see that. We
wouldn't have seen it though if the HOH competition wasn't that short.
Exactly. So, okay, surprise number 1, the HOH competition was that short. Surprise number 2, we got to see the strategy. We would have seen it on Sunday anyways, but it was nice to see it Thursday. Second surprise is that 4 of the 5 detonators / bomb squad are in the final 5. And having just watched season 14, this reminds me of the Quack Pack, where they actually got everyone to the final 4. This is pretty darn close to that. The only one in their way right now is Victoria, who might as well not be there.
She's on her way to final 2.
She sure is. And surprise number 3 is just that everyone still like trusts and confides in Derek. I'm in awe of it. Disappointments. Must be a lot for you here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Caleb for not putting up Frankie for not pulling down Christine, and I don't know if it's like a pleasant disappointment or whatever, but like this week I think we really saw the downfall of Frankie, like the person. I think he's just starting to become like a real douche in the house, and he's just not a good guy. I think it's funny whenever he's in front of Julian on the live evictions, he's like so bubbly and everything, but it's just so fake. I think.
Yeah, he's showing his true colors.
Yeah.
Okay, disappointment number 1 for me: the reset button. Enough said. Don't like it. Disappointment number 2 is that Derek didn't backdoor Frankie. I think it would have been the smart move. It would have, first of all, left Christine in the game, who would probably, in my opinion, have gone after Caleb, and Caleb would have gone after Christine, so that's a heated battle right there, keeping Derek under the radar a little bit. But, oh well. Okay, point recap. I had a big week.
This was probably the most crucial week we've had. We were pretty much tied. After Nicole's eviction, I still had a 10-point lead, but Derek and Frankie won the veto and HOH comps, so you are up 162 to 149. All I have left are Caleb and Victoria, so I need them to get as many points as possible in the competitions, because in the end, I think you have the winner on your team, or at least the final 4/2. You're going to get a lot of points from that. And I only have 2 players left, so they need to pretty much make it to final 2 all the way for me to have a shot at coming back. But I'm surprised. It was very back and forth. I think at the beginning of the season, you had a big lead, and then through the middle of the season, I had a decent lead. I was up almost 40 points. I blew it. Yeah, I mean, it was a good run. I think we made it all the way to the final 5, having a decent competition. So
yeah, and Frankie's just been unreal.
Yeah, he has the most points of anybody.
Didn't see that coming at all. Like by a wide range too. Isn't he up like 20 points on the next best person?
Something like that. I would have been curious to see how this season would have played out with only one HOH.
Yeah. Or if we'd given additional points to the HOH that like stayed in power.
Yeah, something. If we rejig the point system to make more sense in that way, but it's all good. You got to play by the rules you're given.
What are your predictions for next week, Mitch?
I think Frankie's going home in the end. I don't know if he's going to be outright nominated or backdoored, but depends. Unless he wins HOH, I think he's everybody's target.
I agree. I mean, who knows? But even if he does win HOH, the reset button, right? If that gets pushed, then
for sure, someone's going to push it. That's true.
Yeah. So he could lose the power. So I wonder if it gets reset, would he have a chance to compete in the HOH? He must. They must.
Yeah. Maybe Derek wouldn't be able to compete again. Because it's like the whole week resets, right?
Right.
So whatever happened this week doesn't really count.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. Oh, well. Yeah, I also think Frankie's going home. And a little bit of a prediction here is everyone in the house seems to think that it's going to be an endurance challenge. And
For what?
for this HOH
Okay.
coming up. And I just don't think it's going to be. I think it'll be, I don't know. We haven't seen any of the go one at a time competitions yet, have we?
Well, the veto one with the comic books.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, I just don't think it's going to be endurance. It might be, but we just had the fill your cup one. So, okay. Well, thanks for tuning in to this week's edition of the B2M2 podcast. We'll be back next week to discuss all the twists that go down, especially if that replay button gets pushed. That could be a huge game changer. So, for Mitchell Machtinger, I'm Michael Hoad. We'll talk to you next week.